Hi, and welcome back. This is, turning out to be, quite an in-depth subject, but once again, that just goes more to show how important it is. As you're probably seeing, if you're looking at this on the blog, we're breaking them up into, 15 to 20 minute increments, so you can maybe watch one and then, go do something and come back later and watch the next part. I knew when I was going to record this that it was going to be one of the longer subjects because I wanted to try to get you a lot of information. At the same time, um, even though we're using different examples of it, I hope that you're starting to see a redundancy and see certain themes play out in every one of them. Even though that one may be a third party intervention, one may be in a corporate environment, one may be a situation that happens really fast, another one might be one of the more conversational ones if somebody's pissed off at you. And some tips and tricks that you can use in your own life. The one that we're going to discuss right now is more of a private security, or like a bouncer would do, or event security. That you might see at some of these arenas, where you'd have like a rock band or a country act, or some type of thing like that. That you would use, and and a little trick that I don't really see done too much, but are talked about when you're talking about verbal de-escalation. But people in the field, like myself, and a lot of the other guys, that I know, do it quite a bit, and it actually works very, very well. Um, for like one of the, like I said, I didn't like working in the bars. I I work mostly, in like strip clubs and stuff like that, for like, a few years. Because I felt like, hey, I'm, protecting these women, in the bars. I mean, a lot of them, you just deal with assholes, and I didn't really like it. One of the problems that I run up on, especially, in a bar where they have like a dance floor and stuff like that, is, guys getting on there and taking their shirts off, and everything, trying to show off, and, and everything else. And, and the way that, we deal with that isn't so much a verbal de escalation, but just addressing it and talking to someone in a way to where it never escalated, to where no one got pissed off, to where you had to use a verbal de escalation, some way of being like, very proactive about it. Um, but one of the tricks that I would do, let's say, a guy gets on there, on the dance floor, and he's dancing, taking his shirt off and stuff, trying to, pull poon or whatever. And, the thing is that, um, this guy, may be in like really good shape and stuff, and, try to use that to pull women. But a lot of the women looking at it are going to think he's a douche. And then a lot of the other guys are going to get pissed off about it because, maybe they're not as comfortable with themselves where they, get on the, the dance floor and do that. So it's kind of a douchey move. Most places don't allow it. They just it's bullshit. It can be offensive. It can take in a lot of ways. It can instigate stuff. It draws too much attention. It's disruptive. It's distracting. Um, they just don't allow it. So I see that, and I would walk over to this person. First of all, excuse me, sir. Can I talk to you for a moment over here? And he walks over there, and it's like, hey man, I just want to talk to you. It's the establishment's policy. We don't let people take their shirts off and stuff. Stuff on the dance floor. It's just as a policy they don't allow it. And it's like, wow, man, why they hating on me or whatever. Might be some something similar that you would hear. Man, I'm just trying do my thing out here. And that type of deal. But it was like, well, man, I mean, I understand that. I'm just here doing my job. You don't kill the messenger. I'm just, you know, I mean, I understand. I mean, I like, to get girls and stuff too. And everything. But it's just a policy, man. They just don't allow it. If people don't go by it, they make us, escort them out. Notice the way that I worded that. I didn't say I'm gonna throw you out, because that sounds combative. and and then you're going at you have two egos going at it, and that could make something escalate. Say we may have to escort them out, ask them to leave, because it's just a policy that they just don't allow it. And you don't go into the whole thing of explaining why they don't allow it, and everything, because then that could be problematic. And I'll be honest, I've had them not listen, and we threw their ass out. I know I had one night that was just a real dick about it. He was standing on top of a chair, and everything, taking his shirt off, swinging it around, and all this kind of stuff. And I told him twice, I'll be as nice as I could be. And I walked over while he was up on the chair, kicked the chair out from under him. When he fell and busted his ass, I picked him up by his nose and threw him out. Some situations, they're going to work. But basically, what I did there and talking to this person, it was actually kind of manipulative, but it's kind of a misdirection, because me and this person were not friends. You know, he's doing something he's not supposed to be doing, and it's my job to stop him from doing it. Um, and but what I did was basically go over there, establish a fake rapport, with this person, make him think that I'm on his side. But um, if I'm the enemy, maybe he wants to be combative against me. But if I'm acting like I'm his boy, I'm on his side, and I'm establishing rapport, and he thinks he's doing that to help me out. Well, then maybe he does it, you know. And it's a trick we're using. It's manipulative, but it gets the job done, and it keeps egos from getting involved, and and every other kind of thing. So it's kind of a cool little trick. You see it with event security a lot. And I'm not talking about like the security, the main security that travels with bands and and everything else. But these part-time people that just making a little bit over minimum wage. The only reason they even took the job was to see the show for free and maybe get to meet the band and get some autographs. And I had like one of them tell me one time I was at a show, because I used to go to a lot of shows, just to watch it. I'm a fan of music. And the guy was like, even if you like seeing people like smoking pot or something in there, he'd just be like, man, you got to put that out, man. I mean, there, there's policemen here and everything else, man. You just can't do it. And a lot of times you don't have to get that, even when somebody's being a complete ass, and you'll get that, in that situation. But I mean, you know, you don't do any more than you have to do, and sometimes you get more with a little bit of sugar than you're going to get trying to be He-Man or something out there. But that's how you would deal with that type of situation. And then if if you don't get what you want, then they got to go. It's just that simple. But a little trick like that, kind of manipulate them a little bit, and you're not being dishonest necessarily. I mean, you are, but you aren't, because it's true. Everybody goes these places, to have a good time. You don't want to be a hater. You don't want to be doo-dooing on this guy's parade. And it's like this guy doing this, like pull some women. Hell, I like girls. I want to pull women too. I can understand that, so I'm not going to hate on the guy for it. But at the same time, you've got a job to do. And you can do little tricks like that. We establish rapport, kind of get a misdirection, where you're still not coming off smug or condescending or combative or anything like that. And you can get some pretty good results with it. Um, but that's another way that you can take that. Um, so what I'm going to do, well, no, I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. Before this one will just be a little bit longer, and then we'll do one with a review. But the next one I want to talk to you about is a little more extreme, and it's something that I've talked about in the past. I've never talked about it on film, But I've written about it, and it was a crazy situation. Probably going on 20 years ago. And when I originally wrote about it, it was for a deadline for an e-zine that I was writing for in England, and it, there was some inaccuracies in it just because I couldn't, remember everything right. And I felt really bad about it, but at the same time, if you've ever had to interview a witness, there's things that happened to them an hour ago that they can't remember from a chaotic situation. But basically, where the inaccuracy was, it was in an article called "Beware of the Fallout." And within that, I was talking about going to this place, and and I described the incident, but I was talking about I thought it happened like on my off night, but I actually didn't end up. I actually wasn't working there when the incident took place. I worked there a couple of years later, but 15 years after it happened, thinking about it and trying to write something, come up with something quick to write. I just kind of got it jumbled up a little bit and made a mistake. But basically, what went down, without going all deep off up into it and everything, um, we were my cousin and I, we were at this club, and some guys had gotten in a fight. A couple hours before that, one of them left. Well, we were setting up at the bar, and the guy come back. I guess under the guise that he was going to apologize to the guy. Well, the guy starts walking over there, and it's happening behind me, so I'm not exactly sure, the details of this. But at some point, the guy that had come back in uh, pulled a gun and started shooting. Um, when it broke down, the first shot, I mean, it wasn't like coming towards me or anything, but the gun went off behind my head, and it was really, really loud. I'm not really sure what kind of gun it was. Somebody said it was a 38 long nose. I'm really not sure, but I know it was damn loud, and my ears were ringing. I'm stumbling off the stool and everything up this bar, like holding my head like this. And when things like that happen, it doesn't happen like where it's real clear, like where you see it. Like we're talking on this, it's just like in flashes. Um, I seen that my cousin, he was sitting to the left of me. He was disoriented too. Um, I seen a guy come around this part of the bar here, and holding. I think it was this here. Uh, I think it was this one. He was holding and said somebody called the police, and basically, a piece of his ear had fell off. I looked down and it was this part here had been just blown completely off the guy's head. He runs outside, and I hear gunshots. I seen, by this time I turned back around and there was a, guy coming over, which, later, was the bartender. He'd just gotten there. And he goes outside and you hear more gunshots. Then he comes to the door. He's got a gun in his left hand. Now, while the gunshots were going on, my cousin, for some reason, had tried to run out there where it was, and I'd grabbed him, but I'd fallen over something, and he'd got back up before I did, because like I said, I was still kind of disoriented, but my ears had kind of got more like they were, stop, they would stop and ringing, and for some reason, my cousin tries to grab the gun from this, bartender. When he comes back in, and his back was to him, he pulls it. Bartender turns around and points the gun back at him, and he backs up and just kind of standing there. And this guy's yelling at him, "Are you an idiot? Are you stupid? What the hell did you do that for?" And just a lot of stuff like that. And I don't know what made me do it, but I stepped in front of that gun. I stepped in front of that gun, and where the gun would be pointed at me. And I seen this guy's eyes, and this guy was scared. He was scared. I later found out he had just pistol whipped a guy out there to keep from shooting him, and he didn't want to shoot. But you take somebody scared. Okay, now I'm a little scared, because if he's really really scared, and he thinks his life's really in danger, we might get shot. And I remember looking into his eyes. It was just this whole. What are you, an idiot? Why the fuck you do that for? And his voice is kind of cracking and everything. The gun was pointed, man. He had it up there. Um, and you look at, martial arts stuff and everything, you see people, they always teach these gun disarms and everything else. And the reason that I'm telling you this is because, you know, this guy was, standing back after he and my cousin had separated, and I'd stepped in front of it. He was too far away for a verbal de-escalate. I mean, excuse me, for a gun disarm. He was too far away, for a gun disarm. He was a few feet away. I couldn't even stick my hand out, and touch the gun. He was back more towards the door. We were back, more against the bar. And so, all this movie stuff, it wouldn't work. And with the fact that this guy was already nervous and scared, I'm not going to try to manipulate my way towards him to get close to the gun to try to do a disarm. This is why verbal de-escalation is important, because that's the only thing that could have saved us that night was the verbal de-escalation. This the whole gun disarm and the cool stuff that you see couldn't have been done. Not in that particular situation. We weren't close enough. As nervous as the guy was, I was too scared to try to work towards him and do some stuff and tip him off and end up getting me shot and somebody else shot. It had to be a verbal de-escalation. It just had to be. And the guy, was yelling, what are you, stupid? Da da da. I'm like, hey man, yeah man, it was stupid. It was real stupid. But we don't have to do this, man. We don't have to do this. I know you don't want to do this, and you don't have to do this, man. Let's just be cool, man. Let's calm down. We ain't got to do this. Whole time gun pointed right at me. But the thing is, if he'd wanted to shoot, or if he was scared enough and in danger, he would have done it at that point. I never would have got there in time. But the fact is, he didn't want to shoot. He just wanted somebody to tell him that he didn't have to shoot. And that's what I did. But once again, I'm not going to be confrontational in this situation. And you see that's a running thing. You don't insult the people. You don't try to be Billy Badass. In that situation, it wouldn't be. That guy had a gun. We were scared. It should have been. But at the same time, courage isn't the absence of fear. It's overcoming fear. But hey, you got to have empathy. This guy just pistol whipped someone, okay? And that person had a gun. He almost ended up, getting shot at or shot. He just pistol whipped somebody to keep, from shooting him. Then some dude, he don't even, know, ain't even involved in the situation. Ain't no telling what kind of hell he just went through outside. Now this other person tries to grab the gun. Why? Why are they trying to grab the gun? Now he's scared. Now he's going to have to shoot somebody. So you think about that going into it, and of course he once he realized he didn't have to shoot nobody, he put the gun down. We actually got a couple free drinks out of it, which is pretty good. It's a hell of a lot better than taking a bullet to the head. But it. It's a crazy thing. You never know what you're going to do until you find yourself in those situations. But a little empathy goes a long way. And I hope that through these, I'm actually going to get to wrap this up. Now I'm going to take a couple of extra minutes over, what I thought, I was going to be my cutoff point, but, go ahead and get to, wrap the episode up. But, don't be confrontational. Don't blow these people off. Be respectful. Try to understand, what the problem is. And just be a good, honest, decent person. And I hope you've seen, this theme, going through all of these, you've seen some of the same things come up. And everything. Don't do dumb shit like point at them or shrug your shoulders and try to be smug, or do this kind of stuff, make faces at them, things like that. If you can help it. As we talked about, sometimes these things happen fast and you can't help it, and you kind of end up doing it anyway. But you know, try not to. But at the same time, you know, I probably the most important thing is listen, because if you listen, then you're not talking over them and pissing them off worse. If you listen, you're more likely to understand why these people are angry, so you can help them. And then, you know, if you need to put a misdirection in there, maybe get them talking about something else or something to get them to calm down to where they can actually have a conversation with you. That's something that you can work on. To see how to do those things, because they may be so irate that there's no talking to them. So you got to get them, get the mind somewhere else. Before you can actually get anywhere. But hopefully, through these different examples I gave you, you've seen some redundancies and some things, that can help you out that you can use. And I appreciate your time, and thank you for listening.